It's the 15th century, and Europeans are discovering the rest of the world. Bartholomew Diaz reached the Cape of Good Hope. Christopher Columbus sailed to the Americas. By the end of the century, Vasco da Gama had become the first European to reach India. The European continent was experiencing a cultural rebirth. In Italy, art and scholarship was flourishing. We're going to tell you about a traveling Renaissance man you may not have heard of, someone who revitalized Jewish learning and whose writings remain essential for Talmud students to this day. An Italian, rabbi, traveler, and our guide to Europe, the Middle East, and the Mishnah. Ovadia ben Avraham of Bartenura, known to generations of Torah students as the Bartenura or simply the Rav, was born around 1445 in northern Italy, not far from the home of Bolognese sauce. The Bartenura studied under the Maharik, one of the leading Talmud scholars of the time. He soon established a reputation as a scholar in his own right, becoming the rabbi of the Bartenura community. What would have happened if the Bartenura stayed home? Would he have lived a quiet life as a brilliant but forgotten community rabbi? We can only guess. Instead, in 1486, he set out for the Holy Land, painting a vivid portrait of Jewish life in the towns of Europe and the Middle East in a series of letters home. Getting from Italy to Jerusalem in the 15th century was no simple matter. The Bartenura journeyed to Rome, then Naples, and Salerno, and on to Palermo. In a letter to his father, he describes the Jewish community life in fine detail. Outside the splendor of the synagogue, life was hard for the Palermo community.
They are despised by the Christians, and they are obliged to wear a piece of red cloth on their garments, so they may be identified as Jews. This badge is about the size of a gold coin, fastened on the breast. The royal tax falls heavily on them, for they are obliged to work for the king at any employment that is given them.
The hardship of the Palermo community was not unique among the Jews of Europe. The Bartenura's letters provide rare insight into the life of Renaissance Jewry from the perspective of a sympathetic fellow Jew. Amid the hardship, the Bartenura was also witness to the moments of joy and the endurance of tradition. Arriving in Messina, the Bartenura sees a joyful celebration.
I saw a wedding there. After the Sheva Brahot, the bride was brought out into the street and put on a horse. All the members of the community walked before her, with a bridegroom among the elders. Young men and children carried lit torches, and cried out before the bride so loudly that I thought the earth would split. The people paraded through all the streets and Jews' courtyards. Meanwhile, the Gentiles looked on and rejoiced with them, and no one made any trouble.
He sailed for Rhodes, where he was impressed by the tiny, impoverished local community.
I never saw Jews with as good qualities possessed by these Jews of Rhodes. Without exception, they are intelligent, well-spoken, ethical, cultured, and well-mannered. Even the tannery workers among them wear clean clothing and speak pleasantly. Their hair is well-styled, and they are as handsome as princes. Similarly, there are no women as beautiful. They have taken on the responsibility of engaging in various crafts, helping to support their husbands.